The weekly these pop-ups are so annoying. But the weekly sports talk with Ed, episode 41. Got gonna do athletes of the week on gonna do athletes of the week to start it. Then I'm doing the WNBA mock draft. So I'm gonna get that out the way first. I'm gonna get athlete of the week out the way first. Why can I not speak? Then I'm doing the WNBA mock draft. I'm doing all three rounds of the draft, so first, second, and third. So I'm gonna go through this. Then I'll be ready to go in a second. But yeah. And we are live. And as I'm getting this sent out, I just want to say the last two SmackDowns have been brutal. The last two SmackDowns have been really bad. I really don't know what to say. Like the last two SmackDowns, I gave a 4 out of 10. That's how bad it's been. I'm on the road to WrestleMania, so that's just annoying how egregious these past SmackDowns have been. Hopefully next week's SmackDown is not that egregious as it's been the last 2 weeks. But we're here now. I was watching bowling and volleyball before I started this. But now that we're here, time to start. For athletes of the week for the NBA, one with Luka. The Lakers went 3-1 this week and clinched the third seed, led behind Luka with two 30-point games, one 20-point game, and a 40-point game. Shooting over 55% from the field in 3 of those games, shooting 43% or better from three in all 4 games. Like I said, 3-1 record this past week in 4 games. Clinched the third seed, 7 total steals, and 7 or more rebounds in 3 of these 4 games for the Lakers. And that's why I went with Luka, because he's just had a great week. Been amazing offensively. The Lakers, he really flipped the switch. Like when he first joined the Lakers, didn't look too good. But he was uncomfortable in a new situation. And now that he's finally starting to get comfortable, he's been playing some great basketball. And really, his only bad game was that 20-point game he had. He could have had another 40-point game, but he missed a few free throws in last night's game versus the Rockets. But aside from that, Luka had a really good week, and that's why I went with him for athlete of the week for the NBA. For the Pro Volleyball Federation, went with Paige Bridges Ramin of the Grand Rapids Rise. She had 15 points in a sweep against Vegas, along with 13 kills, along with 12 digs, and a 56% positive pass rating. So that's highly impressive. For the NHL, one with Connor McDavid, led the Oilers to a 2-0 record this past week. He had a total of 7 assists, which led to 7 points. He even had a game. He didn't have a game winner, but he assisted on a game winner this past week with a +5 in the 2 games he played combined, and had 4 saves total this week. And he knocked at the right time as it's getting close to the end of the NHL season as well as the NBA. And for the MLB, went with Joey Ortiz. In his 5 games, he's had 5 hits, 5 runs, and 2 RBIs. And the Brewers have went 4-1 in their last 5 games. And the Brewers are 8-2, if I'm not mistaken, to start the season. Or not 8-2, they're 8-6 or something like that. But they've been hot their last 10 games. So shout out to Joey Ortiz leading the Brewers to wins this past week. For men's college basketball, obviously the championship game took place this past Monday. But Will Richard, I felt like shined in that game with 18 points, 8 rebounds, 2 steals, 2 assists, and a block, shooting 5 of 10 from the field, shooting 4-7 from 3 and 4-4 from the free throw line. And he led Florida to a 65-63 win in the championship game against Houston. So that's why I went with him. Then for women's college basketball, this took place on Sunday, so that started the week off. Sarah Strong, a freshman, she dropped 24 points, 2 steals, 3 blocks, 5 assists, and 15 rebounds, shooting 10 of 15 from the field, 2 of 3 from 3, and 2 of 2 from the free throw line. As UConn dominated South Carolina 82-59 in that championship game. So that's why I went with her for the women's college basketball championship. Those games that started off the week. It's been a great week of sports. For WWE, I went with Lara Valkyria. The match she had with Bayley on Monday was good. She retained her women's intercontinental championship. It was a good match. Then her second match this week was her and Bayley in the tag team gauntlet. I don't think they should have won the match, but that doesn't take away from the fact that I thought the match was good and that she had another good showing with them going through PFC, Natalia and Maxine, Katana and Kaden, Michi and B-Fab, and the Secret Herbert. So she did go 2-0 this week and had two good matches. That's why I went with Lyra for WWE. For AEW and with Will Ospreay, he also went 2-0 this week. His match with Kevin Knight on AEW Dynasty to start the week was really great. That was an amazing way to start Dynasty, the main show. And then he was also in an 8-man tag team match this week on Dynamite where he teamed up with Kevin Knight, Mark Briscoe, and Mike Bailey to defeat Ricochet, Crew, and Beast Mortos. And that was a good match. I don't think they got any other money that match was for, but it was still a good match nonetheless. So shout out to Will Ospreay having two great matches this week. For New Japan Pro, when with Hikaru Goto having a potential match of the year candidate in his title defense, retaining New Japan heavyweight, the IWGP heavyweight title against David Finlay at Sakurai Genesis. That was a really fun match. Then for TNA, AJ Francis won a triple threat match on Impact against Mance Warner and Sami Callihan to qualify for the next triple threat, which is going to be for the International Championship. So there was a AJ Francis. He had a good match, so shout out to him. He's been doing great in TNA. I've been doing his TNA run. But that wraps it up for Athletes of the Week. I usually do this at the end of the podcast, but I did it to get it out the way this time because that's going to be okay, these pop-ups are annoying. But now we're going to get into the WNBA Draft and talk about, before I get started with the mock draft, this is the final one. I did 4 mock drafts. I did the first 3 was just the first round. The one I did last month was the second round. And this is my last WNBA mock draft because the actual WNBA draft is coming up this Monday. And before I get into the draft, just want to look at all 13 teams. Now that you got the Golden State Valkyries expansion team, so they're really just looking for the best available. And it's definitely some solid building blocks that they can find in the draft. For the Dallas Wings, their priority is just getting paid at the end of the day. As long as you get her and find some solid pieces to build around her, I think that team is going to be set. They should be solid. So this Kit Kat is still kind of hard. But yeah, the Dallas Wings, once they get paid, what's up, Abby? But yeah, the Dallas Wings, once they get paid, they'll pretty much be set. So that's going to be their building block in this draft. The Seattle Storm, what they're looking for, they're trying to get a point guard. They need to prioritize that in the draft because they've made some solid moves in the offseason. The Mystics, they're looking for some versatility at the small forward and power forward positions. And they need some improved shooting, which they'll be able to find in this draft because this draft is guard heavy. It's a lot of guards in this draft. And for the Connecticut Sun, they're just looking for depth all around because their team is going to look completely different from what it did last year. So they should be able to get that. LA Sparks, they're just looking for shooting in this draft. They're trying to find some solid three-point shooting, which they'll be able to get early on in the draft. The Chicago Sky, guard depth. Like I said, it's a guard-heavy draft class, so it's going to be interesting to see what they're able to do. The Minnesota Lynx, they should be looking for a top power forward and getting some improved defense. The Las Vegas Aces, I think they just need to focus on their depth. Now, they don't have a first-round pick because they violated league policy last season. So, but they do have their other picks, but they got their first-round pick taken away for that. The Indiana Fever, they're looking for defense and shooting. And they could also get a former teammate of Caitlin Clark's later in the draft, which I'm going to get into that. the Atlanta Dream, they they need some versatility between either versatile shooting guard, small forward, or power forward. That's what they need the most. Then the New York Liberty, they're looking for backcourt depth, so they need some good guards to get in out of finding the draft. Then the Phoenix Mercury, they don't have a draft pick at all. And then there was 3 players that decided to go back to college instead of entering the draft this year, which was Olivia Miles. Well, it was 4 players, not 3. But Olivia Miles, Kiki Rice, Fly Johnson, and Tanaya Lawson all went back. So it's going to be interesting to see who goes first next year, especially since Juju is going to be out most of the season. But getting into the mock draft now, with the number 1 pick, I had the Dallas Wings taking Paige Buckers. It makes the most sense. I'd be surprised if she wasn't the one to go first. If she doesn't go first in the draft, that'd be a dumb move by the Wings. She's a 42% three-point shooter, averaging 19 points, 4 rebounds, 4 assists through college. She won plenty of awards, made multiple all-conference teams. Clearly the best player in this draft. And once the Dallas Wings get Paige, their future is pretty much set. For the Seattle Storm, I had them taking Sonia Citron from Notre Dame. She made all defense once, and she's made multiple all ACC conference teams. And she's been averaging 14 points and 5 rebounds, but she's able to do a lot. And I think that point total can go up when she's with the Seattle Storm. For the Washington Mystics, at 3, I had them taking Anissa Morrow from LSU, averaging 21 points and 12 rebounds throughout college, along with 2.6 steals, a dominant power forward. And played at DePaul for a few years, multiple all-conference teams, and I think she's the best fit for the Mystics with that pick, so I think it makes the most sense. At number 4, the Mystics have another pick, and I think this is where they take Kiki Efron, who's played at Stanford and USC, averaging 18 points and 8 rebounds per game this past season. And the only thing with Kiki Efron is that her playmaking needs to improve, and I think that'll definitely come if she's an assistant with the Washington Mystics. I think that's the best player that they can get with that pick. At number 5, the Golden State Valkyries. This is their expansion team. This is their first year in the WNBA. But Dominique Mulango, I think, will be a great pick for them from France, an international prospect, averaging 15 and 10 this past season. Her points have continued to go up each and every season. So I think this is a good pick. This will be a good pick for them to take to help to build around her, build around the international star, and see where you go from there. The Mystics with another pick. I have no clue how the Mystics got 3 first-round picks. But at 6, I would have them take Astra Saveka from Slovenia. She only averages 7 points per game, but the thing with her is she averages 7 points, 3 rebounds, and 2 assists per game, and she's playing good defense. That's why I have her going this high, because of her defense, that's going to help elevate her to go this high. Kind of like in the NBA a few years ago when Bilal Coulibaly went kind of high, people were surprised by it because his points totals weren't the highest. That's kind of how I look at this. Like some of the international stars, they might not have the highest points total, but they can do a lot on the court where it's like it makes sense for you to pick them kind of high. For the Connecticut Sun, I had them taking Lauren Betts. On the last mock draft, I think I had her near the end of the first round, but with a few players backing out of the draft and her and Lauren Betts continuing to rise, playing at Stanford and UCLA, making multiple all-defense teams and 2-time Defensive Player of the Year in the Big Ten, and averaging 14 and 7 through her career. This past season, she averaged 20 points and 10 rebounds per game. So I think that'll be a great pick for the Connecticut Sun. It's going to add to their bench depth. She shot 63% from the field, which that's an amazing field goal percentage for her to shoot. And then the Connecticut Sun have another draft pick right after that at number 8. And I would have them take Georgia Moore. She played at Virginia and Kentucky, shooting 40% from the field, 35% from 3, 82% from the free throw line, and made multiple all ACC and SEC teams. averaging 19 points and 7 assists her last year, but overall averaging 16 points and 5 rebounds per game over her time in college. So I think that pick makes the most sense for them. At number 9 for the Los Angeles Sparks, Isaiah James from North Carolina State, averaged 18 points and 5 rebounds this past year, averaged 12 points and 4 rebounds over her career, a 32.8 3-point shooter, so 32.8%. But that's really one thing about her that needs to improve. If she can get the 3-point percentage up to like around 35 or 36, then she'll be great. I think that's the only problem I have with Isaiah James. Like you could argue she might go lower because of that 3-point percentage, but if she's in the right system, that 3-point percentage can go up to around 35, 36%. At number 10, I had Chicago Sky taking Shane Sellers. She's a 3-time All Big Ten conference player. Made all defense once, averaged 13, 4, and 4 through her career in college, shooting 45% from the field for Maryland. Shot 40% from 3 last season, but that was the first time she did that in her 4 years of college. So maybe this was just a lucky season from 3. Like, she's still solid, don't get me wrong. But is that 3-point shooting going to continue in the league, especially rookie year? Maybe not, but it could. But that's still kind of questionable. When the other season she was shooting around 31, 32% from 3. So we have to wait and see where she ends up going. But I think if she's in a system, because Kennedy Carter hasn't gotten re-signed. The Chicago Sky didn't keep Kennedy Carter. So if they get Shane Sellers, I think she could fit that role perfectly, what Kennedy Carter was able to do for them last season. For the Minnesota Lynx at 11, I take Rob Marshall from USC. Small forward, made all-region twice, made a couple all-defense teams, averaging 10 points and 9 rebounds through her career on 42.5 field goal percentage. On shot 68.7% from the field. That's probably the one thing you want to improve. Probably want that to be around 72%. But she'll be a really solid player, and especially a team like the Minnesota Lynx, who made a deep playoff run last year. They're just looking for depth. They're looking for the best fit. They're not necessarily looking for who is the best player available. Then for the Dallas Wings to round out the first round, I'd take Sedona Prince from Oregon, and she played at Oregon and TCU. The best player with TCU these past few years, averaging 14 points and 7 rebounds through her college career. This past season, averaged 17 points and 9 rebounds per game, shooting 56% from the field and 73% from 3. 2 blocks per game this season, 2 all-region twice, all defense once. Really just a good all-around player, I think, that will help the Wings. Like, once you get paid for that first pick, that's when you got to start building around her. And I think Sedona Prince would be the perfect piece. You can plug her in as a power forward to start, and then eventually have her transition to center, because I think that would make the most sense for her career trajectory. Then now moving on to the second round. This is where the Las Vegas Aces finally get the pick, since they didn't have a first round pick. To start the second round, the Aces, like I said, the Aces are starting up the second round. If I was him, I would go ahead with Haley Van Leaf, Big 12 Player of the Year, 2-time All ACC, played at Louisville, LSU, and TCU. And shot 42% from the field, 33% from 3, 84% from the free throw line. And then last year, she averaged 15 points, 3 assists, 4 rebounds per game. So I think she'll be a really solid fit for the Las Vegas Aces. And they're another team that's really looking for fit. They got rid of Kelsey Plum, which I don't think that move really made a lot of sense, especially in the time. But they'll probably be able to replace her through the draft. For the Dallas Wings, in the second round, I'd take Taylor Jones here. She played at Oregon and Texas in 6 years, 3 seasons for both teams, averaging 11.7 points per game, 7 rebounds per game, shooting 58% from the field and nearly 70% from the free throw line, which is pretty solid. So I think that'd be a good pick for the Dallas Wings. For the Minnesota Lynx and the third pick in the second round, I would take Joyce Justin Joyce from France, averaging 11, 3, and 3. It's kind of a project pick because you really don't know what you're going to get out of some of these international players. So you really just got to take a chance on it and see where it goes from there. And I don't think it'll hurt the Minnesota Lynx too much since they're already a deep team. I think it just gives them a chance to see what they got and what they can do. For the Chicago Sky, I take Sanaa Rivers from played at South Carolina and North Carolina State, made all region before, made all defense twice, won 6 Woman of the Year once, averaged 9.2 points per game, a block, a steal, 3 assists per game, and 5.1 rebounds per game. The only thing is her efficiency is bad, and that's why she's fallen to the second round. If she was more efficient, she could definitely be a first round pick. That's why it all depends on where she ends up going. And she might not get that opportunity in Chicago, but it'll be good to pick her now before anybody else could get her. That's what I see the Chicago Sky doing. Because them, with her being around other players, those shooting splits can probably improve because she won't be the only person out there. So we'll see what happens with that. The Golden State Valkyries with the 5th pick in the second round, I would take Sanera Sundell, average 12.7 points, 4.4 rebounds, 5.8 assists in her career with Kansas State. The only problem with her is she shoots 76% from the free throw line as a guard. You want that to be at least around 80, 81%. So if she can get, if her free throw percentage wasn't at 76, she could probably go first round too. That's why I could see her falling, because she's a good all-around player, but the free throw percentage, that's the only problem with her. And that can definitely improve. That really just takes practice. The Atlanta Dream, I would go with Hermione Turner, average 18.5 points per game, 6.1 rebounds per game, 3.7 assists per game, 40% from the field, 33% from 3, 80% from the free throw line over college in Harvard. The only reason why she's falling in the draft, because her stats are great, she's a great player, but she's falling because she played at an Ivy League school. Like that's, and the Ivy League conference don't have as much competition. That's just the unfortunate part of it. No matter how good you are, the thing with Ivy League schools, they look at that like, oh, the competition's not as tough. So that's why I'm thinking she's gonna fall in the draft, because she done won the Ivy League Player of the Year. She done made the won the Ivy Tournament MVP, made the All Ivy Tourney team, made multiple All Ivy League teams too. So she's really great. That's why I don't have her falling super far. You can make the argument that she's first round, but she'll probably fall based off the fact that some of the girls ahead of her play with better teams in tougher conferences. That's the only argument against her falling. And number 7 in the second round, the Indiana Fever. I go with Michaela Thompson. All 4 of her years she played at FSU, was a 3-time All ACC, 3-time All Defense for the ACC, won MIP for the ACC in the 2022-23 season, averaged 17 and 11 this past season. This past season was her best season, shooting 54% from the field as well. Over her career, she's averaged 13 points and 8 rebounds per game, shooting 54% from the field. So she's had a good career. So she's definitely going to be one of the top players teams are looking at in the second round. And I think the Indiana Fever are able to get her. That just makes that team more dangerous, as we saw with Caitlin Clark being on that team and her being able to lead them to the playoffs in her rookie season. And they've already added some solid pieces, and Deanna add some solid pieces in the off season, so they can keep doing that through the draft. And this team could definitely improve and be better than what they were. They were the 6th seed. They could probably move up to around 4 or 3 this upcoming season. For the Los Angeles Sparks, at number 9 in the second round, I take Aaliyah Nye. She played with Illinois and Alabama. Averaged 12 points per game, but she shot 41.8% from 3 and led to SEC in 3-point percentage twice. So she's probably the best she's definitely the best 3-point shooter in this draft. So if she falls that late, then they got to take the Sparks got to take a chance on her and make that happen, because that would make the most sense. And if she goes early, I wouldn't be surprised. I just think it's because of the 12 points, because she's going to be a good role player, but she probably won't be an all-star type player. For the Indiana Fever, they had back-to-back picks. I skipped over one of their picks by mistake. But I would have them take Diamond Johnson. She played at Rutgers, NC State, and Norfolk State. She shot 37% from three, averaged 2.5 steals, made multiple all-defense teams, multiple all-tourney teams. So she's just an all-around good player. She can shoot. She can shoot from three, and she can play good defense. And that's really rare nowadays. So the Indiana being able to get that would be amazing. Now I think I'm on track. That was the only pick I skipped over. Okay, now we're back to 10. The Chicago Sky. Deasia Lawrence. That's why I take Rouse the Sky. Shooting 43% from the field, 36% from three, and 79% from the free throw line, and made two all-conference teams playing in Charlotte and Kentucky. I think that's a good pick for the Chicago Sky, and the Chicago Sky got a lot of picks, so they could really just try some stuff with some of these picks. Like they could go for best fit, they could go for best available. Like the Chicago Sky have a lot of options in this draft. For second round, pick number 11. If I'm the Washington Mystics, and I'll probably butcher this name, but Eugang Anayo from California. She was a forward. She didn't have any accolades in college, but she was a good role player, averaging 8 points per game, 6 rebounds per game, on 54% from the field. So she is efficient. She can be a double threat at times if she gets starter type minutes, but she's definitely solid coming off the bench, and that's why I think she either go late second round or early third round. Pick number 12, the Minnesota Lynx, Megan McConnell, multiple time all defense teams, won the defensive player of the year, made multiple all conference teams for the Queens, averaged 12 points per game, 7 rebounds per game, 5 assists per game. But she shoots 62% from the free throw line, and she shoots 33% from three as a guard. Her field goal percentage being 44%, I'm not too concerned about. It's just the 3-point percentage and free throw percentage, like that's not really efficient, especially for a guard. So that's why she's somebody that will fall. Like despite the accolades and stuff that she's won in college, it's just some of those splits are too low to justify her going really any higher than that. And you could argue she could go later than that based off of those stats alone. Then to cap off the second round, Tahina, the Connecticut Sun, I would have them taking Tahina Popo she played at Oregon and South Carolina, averaged 11 points, 3 rebounds per game, and 3 assists per game, shooting 43% from the field, 40% from three, and 84% from the free throw line, and it's made for all conference teams. The best thing about the second round is that that's where a lot of the best 3-point shooters are going to be at. Because a lot of the star players who are doing the other stuff, you're going to get that in the first round. But there's going to be some really solid 3-point shooting in the second round. And I think the Connecticut Sun adding some more 3-point shooting, that'll just help them. And that team could probably improve if they're able to get her in the draft. Now going to the third and final round of the draft. The Seattle Storm had a first pick in the third round. I had them taking Maddie Westball, forward from Notre Dame, 3-time All-ACC, averaged 12 points per game, 7 rebounds per game, 2 assists, 1 steal, and 1 block per game over college. So she's a solid defender, a solid on offense, just a solid all-around player. So that helped the Seattle Storm, her coming off their bench. And she probably won't play immediately. Like most of the girls that go in the third round probably won't play immediately and probably get a lot of garbage time minutes. But they'll be good building blocks for the future. Or if somebody goes down with an injury, these will be solid pieces to plug in and see what they're able to do. And for at the second pick of the third round, the Dallas Wings, I had them taking Sarah Ashley Barker played at Georgia and Alabama, averaged 11.2 points per game, 1.5 steals, and 4.9 rebounds. She's a good defender. She's one of the best defenders that you can get late in this draft. Probably going late second, early third. That's why I have her here. And I think that's the perfect pick for the Wings. I think the way I constructed this around the Wings is after they draft Paige, I felt like it was about who they surround her with. So that's really who I was looking at, who would be the best fits around Paige and her capabilities, because that's what the Dallas Wings are really going to be able to do. And I think Paige can have the same impact that Caitlin Clark had on Indiana last season, leading them to the playoffs. I think Paige can lead the Dallas Wings to the playoffs if this draft is done correctly by the Dallas Wings. For the third pick in the third round, the Los Angeles Sparks, I had them taking Lucy Olsen, who played at Villanova in Iowa, won Big East Most Improved Player a few years ago. Two-time All Big East teams, made All Big Ten as well. Averaged 15, 4 and 4 over her career in college. 42% from the field, 33% from three, 76% from the free throw line. The Sparks are really trying to add whatever they can because that team is going to improve regardless based off of the progression, assuming from Rita Jackson and Cameron Brink, assuming that they improve, and then the people they surround them with, that team will definitely be able to improve. The Seattle Storm at number 4 in the third round. Having taken Alyssa, you used to be from North Carolina, 4-time All ACC, 1-time All ACC defensive team, 12 points per game, 8 rebounds per game, and 3 assists per game, 47% from the field. I think that's the best pick that they can make. It makes the most sense. At number 5, I had a Golden State Valkyries taking Madison Scott from Ole Miss, 1 SEC Rookie of the Year in 2021, 3-time All SEC team, a 2-time All SEC defense, averaged a block, a steal, 7 rebounds, and 11 points per game. Just all-around good player, can play both ends of the ball, so that's going to be important for them to get in the draft because the Valkyries still looking for best available, and I think Madison Scott is going to be the best available you can get in the third round, and that's going to be a good building block for the Valkyries. She'll probably be one of the few third-round players to get a lot of playing time since the Valkyries are really trying to figure out what their foundation is since they're an expansion team. Then for the Dallas Wings, once again, now they have at number 6 in the third round, I'll go with J.J. Quinterly, 3-time All Big 12, a 3-time All Big 12 defense, 2-time Big 12 Defensive Player of the Year, playing at West Virginia, averaging 16 points per game, 2.6 steals, 2.7 rebounds, and 2.7 assists, and 3.3 rebounds, and shooting 44% from the field, 32% from the free throw line, and 32% from three, 77% from the free throw line. I think she just fits well with the Wings, and she can be solid coming off the bench. Or she might not come off the bench immediately, but I can see like middle of the season her coming off the bench and providing some scoring for that team and playing some good defense. At number 7, I would go with the Washington Mystics. I would go with Sabaya Fagan from South Carolina, 2-time champ, 2-time All-Region, and All-Defense once. And that's really why I have her going and getting drafted, because of her defense. Because she only averaged 5.6 points per game, but she plays great defense. So I could very well see her getting drafted. Number 8 for the third round, the Indiana Fever. I would go with Addison O'Grady here from Iowa. She averaged 9 points per game this past season, shooting 60% from the field. But I would go with her because of the chemistry she has with Caitlin Clark, with them playing together for a few years. I think that'd be a good pick, because it's likely she goes undrafted, but Indiana picking late in the third round, they could take a chance on Addison O'Grady because she has the chemistry and has history with Caitlin Clark in college, and they can experiment with that a little bit. She's not going to play immediately if she does get drafted or signs to a team in free agency after the draft, but she could be a solid pickup. I think she's solid. She can get the ball in the basket. For the Seattle Storm with number 9 in the third round, I would go with Julia Arraud from Michigan State, 2-time All Big Ten, averaged 10 points per game and 5 rebounds per game in her college career. And I think she can develop well with Seattle. Like obviously most of the people going in the third round probably won't get that much playing time immediately, but some of these picks can be really solid if they're used right. Like the Las Vegas Aces, I had them taking Madison Hayes with the 10th pick in the third round. She played at Mississippi and NC State, averaging 8 points, 5 rebounds per game, shooting 39% from three. She's going to be the best three-point shooter you can find in the third round. And because of how good she is from three, you can make an argument that she goes second round. Like there might be some teams that, like, even though it's 10 points and 5 rebounds, they could take a chance on that and shooting that well from three. Because that's phenomenal. That's really good, shooting 39% from three in college over. And that's not like she just did it one season. She did that her entire college career. And there's people in this draft that weren't able to do that, only did it once. So that's impressive. That's the only thing why she's not going as high because of her points average in college. The third round, pick 11, the Atlanta Dream, Alsha Coulibaly. She played at Auburn and Texas A&M. I think she would be a great pick for the Atlanta Dream, averaging 13 points per game, 6 rebounds, 2 steals, 2 assists, two-time All-SEC team. I think that pick makes the most sense for Atlanta. They were the 8th seed last year. They barely made the playoffs. They lost in the first round. But I think with her being on that team, she could definitely help them improve. I think she'll be one of the few people to go in the third round that actually see a lot of playing time. And I think it will make sense. A third round pick number 12, the Minnesota Lynx. Tamira Pondexter is who I had them taken. Played in Tulsa and Kansas State. Won ACC Rookie of the Year and Player of the Year in her tenure at college. Made 3 all-conference teams, averaging 15.6 points per game. The only thing about her, the points total was nice, but it's really about the all-around game. What more can she do? Because we've yet to see that. That's why she could fall to the third round. Or she could, like, she probably has the widest range of any player in this draft. Because you can make an argument she can go early second because of her 15.6 points per game. But I have to fall into the third because we haven't really seen anything else out of her. What else can she provide? Can she be an elite playmaker? Can she be a great rebounder? We're just going to have to wait and see. So I'm hoping that she gets drafted to a team like the Minnesota Lynx, who had that pick, which would be a great fit for her because they're already a playoff team. And so in certain games down the stretch, they can experiment with that if they do have her on the team. Then for the last pick of the WNBA draft, the New York Liberty, I would have them take Anika Sotu from Germany. For some reason, I could not find stats for her from this season, but she seems really solid, averaging double-digit points. It's just the only thing she played. She might have been injured this season, which is why she didn't play that much. So she could probably fall because of that. Like, players do fall in drafts because of their injury sometimes, so she might not fall as far as the last pick in the draft. And then even if her going to a team like the Liberty, who is a championship team, I think that'd be best for her because she'll get to learn in that championship environment. Won't play much that first season, but then that second season, she'll start getting playing time. That's just kind of how the Liberty work. That's how their system is. Yeah, that wraps it up for my mock draft for the WNBA. The WNBA mock draft, the WNBA draft is on Monday. It's upcoming Monday in 2 days. The actual draft is going to be taking place. But that is it for that's my final mock draft of the year. That's who I think each team should go. That's who I think each team should target and get in the draft. I think all those moves make the most sense and they're the most logical. We'll see what happens on Monday. But this was fun. Make sure you leave a like. Make sure you subscribe and peace out.